Alright, so let's take a brief look at the pros and cons of the Windcatcher ship type. So, as you can see from the master keyword list, this is a ship type that can reverse direction before moving. So you flip it 180 degrees and then you start moving from there. So these are 3 masters only, and they started showing up in Ocean's Edge. So this is a more recent and kind of a later ship type that was introduced. There's not many of them. The Windcatchers that are in the game are quite good, but first I'll go over the pros and cons. Honestly, I don't really see any cons. The price is good, as you'll see here from the Windcatchers that do exist. There's 5 in the game, and then there's 7, including the 2 from Return to the Savage Shores that I see. And I don't really think there's a con because the keyword is only positive. There's no negatives. It's not like galley where you can't ram a mast off, or turtle ship where it should prevent ram damage, but it doesn't. The pros are mostly that it's a nice ability, especially for gold runners or hybrids that have good cargo, because when you go to a wild island, you're normally going to end up docked with your stern facing your home island. So that's problematic because then you have to move the whole length of the ship. When you start moving again, you have to move the whole length of the ship back towards your home island just to start. So that can be a full S or L depending on the length of the ship. So the Windcatcher totally bypasses that. So then it's actually advantageous to dock with your stern as close to the home island as possible and pointing in that direction. Because then you flip it with the Windcatcher keyword on your next turn, and then, or 2 turns after that if you don't have Explorer, and then you can start moving from where the stern was, where the bow now is. So Windcatcher is a very good keyword. There's not many of them, but of the ones there are, they're quite good. So another pro is that it's a cheap keyword. So the Ghostwalker, for example, has the cancel ability, 4 cargo. All 3 cannons are 2L. This is an American Windcatcher, and I could see this at around 15 without the Windcatcher keyword. Maybe she'd only be 13 or 14, but that's still a great ship. You've got some good strengths there, especially canceling and fantastic firepower. This is a really good 3-master and a powerful one at that. So Windcatcher barely adds anything to the cost and just makes the ship a little bit more maneuverable. But like I said, Windcatcher is actually better on ships that have more cargo or are better at gold running, or being a hybrid. So the Mystic is actually an interesting one because it has the home island rating ability. So this is cool because you could dock it on an enemy home island, and then on the way out, because you're probably going to have to, skedaddle out of there or whatever, because they're probably going to be coming after you if you take their gold. So the Windcatcher keyword could allow you to get out like an S faster, and it could also allow you to kind of avoid being trapped maybe if they're trying to block your bow off. I mean, your opponent should probably know what the Windcatcher keyword does, but if you're in a tight spot, if you flip the ship completely around, that might actually give you some clearance to start your move segments at a better position. So this is pretty cool with the home island rating ability actually. And the Mystic has good cargo and solid cannons, so that's another good one. USS Mercury, not the submarine, the Windcatcher. This one's good. I've actually used this one pretty effectively as a scout ship and a gunship, especially in Vassal Campaign Game 3, where she played a pretty decent role in expanding the American, short-lived but rapidly expanding American empire, if you want to call it that. It ignores terrain, great base move, good cannons. This one's more of a gunship, but Windcatcher is still a good keyword to have for maneuverability. And again, this would be a 10 or 11 point ship without the keyword, so you're not really paying much extra for the extra maneuverability. So kind of reminds some people of Schooner. Schooner is where you can stern turn on the end of the ship at the end of a move action. So I think Windcatcher is a little better. Schooner I don't really use that much. I love how the ship type looks, but the keyword doesn't really affect things too much. Windcatcher, on the other hand, can be pretty useful in terms of getting gold and making trips to islands. So HMS Mirage is an English Windcatcher. This one I actually don't have yet in physical form. Kind of a cool looking one, and it's another decent one. A gunship for the most part. You could try to do a hybrid role, but the next one, Libellule, is actually wicked good. This one has 6 cargo SL speed, and partly because there's a negative ability, sinks when her last mast eliminated. So this one is fantastic. This is the best Windcatcher, pretty much. The Ghostwalker is great, but This one is a fantastic gold runner, one of the better gold runners in the game, really. 6 cargo for 9 points. It's just a steal, and kind of crazy actually how good that is. And it's a really beautiful ship too. It's got cool red, white, and blue. It could easily be proxied as like an American ship actually. But this one, because of the negative ability, it's a great ship. And the Windcatcher keyword is perfect here because this is much more of a gold runner than a gunship. And like I said, the Windcatcher keyword is better at getting gold because you can flip after you've picked up gold and then make a faster trip home. And then here we've got a couple from Return to Savage Shores. I can put a link to the spreadsheet and or the threads in the description. There's a couple from Return to Savage Shores, the unreleased 14th set. And I'm not going to say the name. I usually just call it Squawk. This is a cursed Windcatcher that's also fantastic. One of the only cursed, like, true gold runners in the game. 5 cargo LS speed, and Windcatcher just helps with that. So she's got a very good secondary ability as well. So a very good Windcatcher, great cursed ship. And Babieka, I think, is the most underrated Windcatcher. I mean, the set wasn't released, so I guess maybe that's inevitable. But this is a 13-point Spanish Windcatcher, a lot of cargo. Looks like all the Windcatchers except for the Mercury have more cargo than masts. So they almost all of them have 4 or more cargo. So that's an inherent strength of the ship type, is that the keyword is good for getting gold, and the ship type generally has cargo that helps them in that role of getting gold because they have large cargo holds. So that's nice. Babieka also has very good cannons, Windcatcher, and then ignores the first hit. So this one is a good Spanish hybrid that I used in Vassal Campaign Game 1 actually as the Spanish. So pretty much all the Windcatchers are playable, and a couple of them like the Ghost Walker and Libellule are actually extremely good. Some of the best 3 masters of their factions. So question of the day is how much do you use Windcatchers? Do you have them? They're actually kind of rare. They're special edition ships from some of the later sets. So do you have them? Do you use them? Do you like them? And have you had success with them? And I guess the secondary question of the day is, would you like me to continue this series? It's pretty easy, especially for a relatively basic ship type like this, and there's not a lot of actual ships of the type to cover individually. So I'll probably do more of it. And it looks like the turtle ship video already has a couple likes, so it's something I can continue as a series. So thanks for watching, and like and subscribe if you want to see more Pirates content.